Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the MentorPodcast.com. Ron LeGrand here, and I have with me today Dedric and Krystal Polite, and you actually might recognize them from their television shows. You guys are, what is it, 50-50 Flip, if I recall, on you're on Hulu and where else?
And
Hulu and A&E.
A&E and Hulu. Okay. Well, what day and time are you on?
So we're on with Hulu. It's a streaming platform, so you can go on at any point in time and find us. And
On demand.
On demand, and it's basically
Okay.
the same thing with A&E.
The same with A&E?
Yes, you can
So
go on
all right.
A&E.
So we just got to plug it into our DVRs and forget about it, right?
That's it.
Type in 50-50 Flip.
50-50 Flip. All right. Well, I haven't seen your show, but I'm going to go look for it now. So what are you on the show? Do you guys renovate houses kind of thing like all the rest of them, or is something different about yours?
No, it's different. We didn't want to be the 1,000 flipping show on TV, Ron.
Yeah.
So they actually approached us. We didn't go out seeking a TV show. They saw us on social media, saw what we were doing in real estate, and wanted to document it. So our show, once the producers came here and started looking at what we were doing here in Burlington, North Carolina, they noticed that we were flipping houses in 50 days or less for $50K or less in renovation costs. And the funny thing is, we weren't actually flipping. The properties they saw us renovating were actually our buy and hold properties, because we are primarily buy and hold investors. And they thought we were selling these properties, but we were keeping the majority of them. We didn't do our first flip until the TV show, when we actually did a official fix flip.
Tell me about what goes on behind the scenes on that thing. They call them reality shows. How much reality is there in these things?
Well, for ours, it's not.
It's all reality.
It's all reality, but it's not. It's no drama reality, right?
But it's not scripted.
They don't make you guys fight or anything like that? Crying out loud. What fun is that?
Right. Like, I mean, they'll catch a little argument here and there.
It's not like Housewives of LA, anything like that.
Right. It's documentary style. So you really are following us in what we do every day in our business and in our life. And we're showing, the real deal when it comes to growing a business, building generational wealth within real estate and business, and also parenting young kids at the same time while you're doing it, but also showing a bigger aspect of how you can bring the humanity back to real estate investing, where we do a lot for our community and giving back to our community and providing affordable housing and showing that you don't have to be this huge investor, but starting from where you're at.
So is that your specialty, is providing affordable housing?
It's one of them, but it's something that is near and dear to Dedric and I, because we both grew up in affordable housing. So we know what it feels like.
Section 8 housing.
So it's a huge aspect to our business model, and it was before the TV show ever came.
Actually, I think about it, that's what I've been doing for 42 years, is providing affordable housing.
See?
One time I had 200 Section 8 HUD tenants. Can you imagine that?
Right.
There you go.
That's amazing.
I had dark hair then, and they made it white. That was a lot of fun, managing 200 Section 8 HUD tenants. And then one day along the line, I learned the lease option stuff. And so obviously I would never go back to straight rent, regardless Section 8 or not. So you guys do rehabs, you do terms deals. Tell me, what do you mainly do?
So we do a combination. We do wholesaling, we do buy and hold, we do flips. We also do lease options. We do creative finance deals subject to. So we are investors. You have some investors that only know wholesale. They only do fix and flip. But we believe to be an investor, you have to know multiple exit strategies, entry and exit strategies.
You are so correct. You got to have plan 2 when plan 1 don't work, and quite often plan 1 don't work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's kind of what I've been doing all my life as well. So how many houses would you say you handle in a year?
We handle anywhere from about 150 to about 250 a year, whether we're holding them flipping them or renting, wholesaling.
Mm-hmm. So in order to do that many, I would imagine that most of them are wholesale deals, are they not?
Yes, we do quite a bit of wholesale, but we also do quite a bit of buy and hold, and we do anywhere from about 20, 25 flips, depending on what our filming season is like. So that'll dictate whether or not we do more flips or less flips.
Yeah, and the wholesales and the flips, they just fuel the buy and hold portfolio, right? Yeah. They fuel the down payments needed for the creative financing deals.
Well, that term creative financing, that's starting to come back. I was doing creative financing in 1982, and technically all it is seller financing.
Yeah.
Which by the way, does not even include subject to, since you're not paying the seller any money. So the term creative bothers me because it confuses people. They don't know what that means, but it's just seller financing. It's all it is. It's term deals. So you said you do 25 rehabs a year. Is that what I heard you say? You said flip. Is your definition of that rehabs?
Yeah, it's the same thing. So rehabs are typically our buy and holds as well. Flips are basically for the show or properties that we get that we're like, hey, listen, it just makes more sense for us to flip them. Mm-hmm. So that's our flips. We do rehabs on a lot of our buy and holds as well. So every property we buy, we go in and we rehab it.
And then you put tenants in it, or lease option tenants?
We prefer lease option tenants. So at one point we did have a lot of straight long-term rentals, but we kind of smartened up. We're like, hey, we're either going to lease option this or we're going to do short-term rental. So a lot of our long-term rentals we've converted into Airbnbs and short-term rentals. Why? Because the cash flow, it juices the cash flow. So instead of making $300 a month cash flow, you're making $1,500 a month off a single-family house.
You mean Airbnb rentals?
Airbnb, traveling nurses, medium-term rentals. Anything other than a long-term rental.
So your goal is to put the long-term rentals in there and let the houses pay for themselves, so you can lay down and quit whenever you decide it's time.
Yeah, we're still in that building phase, right? We've been at this about 7 to 8 years, but the goal is in 10, 15, 20 years, have everything paid off and have the cash flow.
Well, your price ranges that you're dealing in, that you flip and rent, from what to what, give or take?
So entry level starter home price point. So here in North Carolina, from between 50 to 250,000, and I'm sure you know inventory is at a premium. So days on market is less than 30 days. So in this area is growing so fast, those starter homes just fly off the shelf, whether you're renting them or selling them.
Yeah. You got houses that you right now can sell for $50,000. Is that what?
No, I'm talking the purchase, the per entry.
The purchase price. Okay. What's the ARV on it?
And ARV is 200 to 300.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's kind of normal. That's kind of what it is here as well. But I find it very hard to purchase them for $50,000 anymore.
Oh, very difficult to find those.
The houses I used to purchase for $25,000 are now 200 to 250. So we just adapt to the market.
Where are you at?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And my numbers are very close to yours.
Yeah.
So how you guys have been in? Did you say 7 or 8 years? How did you get started?
We were both working corporate America. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2001. That opened my eyes to the whole cash flow game and getting onto the other side of the quadrant to be an investor and a business owner. I met this lady. I was working a good corporate job, making 6 figures, but I hated it. But it was paying the bills, and I was in analysis paralysis mode for years and years. I had all the books, I had the Carlton Sheets, DVDs, I had all this stuff that from the 90s. And I watch it, but I wouldn't take action because I was comfortable in my corporate job. Krystal, on the other hand, she's a serial entrepreneur. So when we met, I started talking about, hey, I want to get into real estate and wholesaling. And after a while, she got tired of me talking about it. She was like, let's do something. So she went and set up our LLC. She signed us up for these workshops and courses, and then we just dove in head first.
Okay, so I see where the driving force is in this family, which is good because quite often it's the opposite. It's the woman trying to hold back those because she has no idea what it's all about. So I always try to get couples to come to my events so they can see the real world together.
Right.
One doesn't have to transfer to the other.
Exactly.
All right. So you guys, they approached you to get on TV because they saw you on social media. Is that it?
Yes. So we had been getting approached quite often in our DMs through all different types of casting agencies. And at the time, it was always no, our kids are super small. We just really wasn't interested in it. And we were really working on building our real estate business. And then A&E was really persistent over a course of a year, and then found our phone number, called our office, got our assistant to schedule a call with them, and we hopped on a Zoom call. And we spoke to they have their own in-house casting company. So we spoke with them, and it was kind of like a year-long process. It was prior to COVID or
right
during
after
COVID?
COVID, right? And we were like, all right, let's just go through the interview process. Because they said they were looking at us and several other couples that had followings who were doing real estate. And we were like, let's see how far we can take it, right? We never dreamed of being a TV, bro. You dream of it, but you never think it's gonna actually come to reality. So let's see how far we can take it. And we get down to the finals, and they're like, hey, we want to select you guys. We want to do a show on you. And we were like, oh, well,
Right.
we didn't think we would get it, but I guess we got to do this now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. You never dreamed you'd be there 6 years, 7 years ago, did you?
Right. No, not at all. It definitely was not on the roadmap.
Yeah. Well, what is your message to people out there today that thinking about getting in real estate, or better yet, getting in it and not going anywhere? What do you see as the biggest issue?
I would say for me, I think the biggest issue is people giving up too soon. I think a lot of people get into it and they expect this to be a get rich quick thing, and it's not. And I think a lot of people get into it, they have one bad break, or they get one property under contract, can't dispo it, or something goes wrong that first time, it's taken too long, and they just decide to give up and don't realize that their breakthrough is right on the other side of that deal. So I think really telling people and them understanding that you can get rich, you can get wealthy, but you're going to have to put the work in to get to that point, and just understanding that it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So I think that's the biggest misconception. And I think that's also the biggest hurdle that people just can't seem to overcome. Even with us, like, it took us over a year to do our first deal.
Did it?
Not for the lack of trying.
Yeah.
But it took us over a year, and we struggled. We lost money on deals. We lost earnest money deposits. Couldn't
Krystal,
find buyers.
That's called training.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And so many people give up during the training aspect of it.
Well, I think from my perspective, Ron, it's a lack of training and a lack of mentorship. When we were trying to close our first deal, we didn't have a mentor. We had YouTube, we had podcasts we would listen to, but we didn't have a mentor that we could call and who can walk us through the deals. Yeah. So I think that's the big thing, is that lack that can hold your hand and guide you through it. Who's been where you want to go is key.
You know, we've had, I'm trying to think, I don't even know what year we started mentoring. It's been about 12, 15 years ago. And, 10 years went by where I wanted to offer mentoring, and I couldn't figure out who's going to mentor the mentor. And in other words, I didn't want to put mentors in front of people that just talked and never really done the business. And one day it occurred to me, 10 years to figure this out now. Why don't you just put some successful students in there that want to teach and let them be the mentor? 10 years to figure that out. All right. So you're absolutely right, Krystal. That was very well said. I mean, it takes a village. And, I think probably the biggest thing that we find is that people are just afraid. Fear just freezes them. And even though I teach them to operate without risk, with little or no money and absolutely no credit, and show them there's no way you can lose if you operate that way. The fear of even talking to people. If you're going to buy houses, you're going to have to talk to people. And you're right. They just have trouble getting started. And the first roadblock that comes along, they use it for an excuse to get out. But then you might want to ask, where are you going to go from here? Okay. Where are you going to find a business that produces this kind of wealth with this small amount of overhead that you don't even have to get up and go to work in the morning after you get everything automated? And I feel sorry for them, honestly. But I wished I could wave a magic wand over their head, and I don't have such things. So you're right. Now, most of them, most of them decide they want to quit when they figure out they do have to do something to get the money.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Ron. They don't teach this in school. They don't teach you how to do assignment contract. They don't teach you these options. Even if you go to the best colleges and universities, they teach you how to work for someone else, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with having a job. Some people love their work, love what they do, but
Really?
this specialized knowledge can make you wealthy. But again, it's not taught every day in schools.
Yeah, I got it. All right. So what is your mission going forward? What do you see ahead of you?
I mean, our mission is, Krystal always says, it's not about how many doors we own, it's about how many doors we can open. So our mission is to just share with as many people as possible what real estate has done for us, how it's helped us become financially free, and share that with as many people as possible.
Krystal, did you make that up?
Yes, I did.
That's pretty good. Actually, that should be on a sign where you do business, and that should be that's your unique selling proposition, or whatever they want to call it. That's your mission statement right there. That's pretty. Don't be surprised if I steal that.
Oh no, you can't have that one, Ron. You can't have that.
Oh, Ron, the legend himself.
It ain't copyrighted, is it?
Right.
It's trademarked.
Okay. That's
But I
good.
think
Yeah.
going into business, really, entrepreneurship, we're serial entrepreneurs. So we are very diverse in the things that we get into. So not only are we in the real estate, but, we'll be opening up our first FEC, Family Entertainment Center, through the benefits of real estate. We'll be doing that within the coming year. So just showing people all the different avenues that real estate can benefit you and all that it can afford you through real estate. So because of real estate, we're able to get in and venture into all of the different other areas of entrepreneurship, which we were already previous to real estate.
Yeah. And then when you work to get it on autopilot, it frees up an awful lot of time to do the stuff that you've been wanting to do all your life, but didn't have the money enough to take off the time to make it happen.
That's what it is.
I hear a lot of those stories. Well, first of all, I meant to ask you, what's your average profit on a wholesale deal?
Average profit is about 17,000 on a wholesale deal.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. We're doing some of those ourselves down here. So when you rehab a house and then sell it, what's your average profit?
In the past year, we've hit several six-figure profits, but I'd say the average is probably about 70,000.
70,000 net profit?
Yep.
Okay. And that house is selling for approximately what?
Between 250 and 300,000.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's very good. You live in Burlington, North Carolina. I'm trying to figure out where that is. I don't.
It's outside of Greensboro, 20 minutes from Greensboro.
Okay, over on the west side then. My brother lives in Winston.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
45 minutes from Winston.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So when you told me that you renovate them and then you put tenant buyers in them. Is that what you said?
Some of our properties.
Yeah. I used to do that a lot. I got kind of turned off when they moved later and I had to go renovate it again. Today I buy it for cash. I sell it for cash. I actually hire a realtor to sell the house for cash. And moving pretty quickly out there today. And if I buy it on terms, then I put a lease option tenant buyer in it. So when you fund one of these things to purchase and rehab, where does the money come from to do it?
So various methods depending on the deals and the purchase price. So sometimes we'll use our own cash. Sometimes we use private money, investors. Sometimes we'll use private hard money and a combination thereof. And our favorite is seller financing, right? Buying it.
Of course.
Our average seller finance deal, we're putting down 2 to 3% as a down payment. I mean, it's crazy. And when I first learned about this back in the 90s, there was no one who looked like us or looked like me doing it. So I was like, man, it would be cool to do that. But I didn't see anyone who looked like me who's actually doing it. So it's just been a blessing to actually be able to do this myself and ourselves and just inspire people.
Have you ever seen my scripts, Dedric?
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, I'm going to lay them out there for you right now because it'll help you get more nothing down deals.
Oh.
You ready? Okay, now first we get a property information sheet, of course, and our virtual assistants do that. We don't. Here comes our sheet. Now it's up to us to call the seller. All right, so when I call the seller, it goes something like this. Hi, I don't call them. I got an acquisition that does. Hi, this is Ron calling about the house that you discussed with my assistant yesterday. You got a moment? They'll say yes. And then here's my next paragraph. It says, well, listen, sometimes we pay cash for houses and sometimes we just make payments until you're paid off. Cash price is certainly going to be much less than the payments. So would you like to hear other options other than all cash? And if they say yes, we got a bunch of benefits we lay out to them. They say no, then we ask them what's the lease take for all cash. And of course, is that the best you can do? All in one script. We weed it out quickly. Now, if they want to hear more, we'll give them all the benefits. If they don't want to hear more, then we're done. But if they are interested in just hearing about the terms, the final three questions we call the $1 million script, which you probably ought to record these if you can. They're real quick.
We're recording this, right?
All right. So the first question of the big three is, well, listen, if we do agree on the terms, what is the least you can take for the house? And then I put after that, shut up. Okay, to remind them.
Press mute.
You got to. We'll talk too much. And then really, is that the best you can do? So I get them down that far. And here comes the second question. We usually buy with nothing down, okay? There's only two answers you're going to get.
Right.
Either okay. You're going to be shocked how many just say okay. You really are going to be shocked. Right?
It's all how you phrase it.
But you got to ask them like you really mean it and then shut up.
Yeah.
All right, if they say, no, I can't do that. And the next question is, well, listen, we usually buy with nothing down. So how close to nothing can you get? That script works like a charm. We use it in class all the time, called real sellers. And we work them down. And then the last one is, if they have a loan on the house, well, I assume you're okay if we make your payments till you're paid off, which indirectly is figuring out what the term is, whatever is on the loan. You don't even know at that time. But those three questions make an awful lot of money for an awful lot of folks.
Oh yeah, that's a powerful script. That's powerful. I like it.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, you can steal it. Everybody else is.
All right, we'll trade off.
At least we know who the originator is.
We'll trade off.
All right. Listen, what was your biggest problem when you started? What almost took you out?
A few things. I think one of our biggest ones was we put up a $5,000 earnest money deposit on a deal in Boston. It was like a $700,000 2-unit house we got under contract. Put way too much in earnest money. Yep. And then we had a realtor promise us he was going to bring a buyer, and he didn't come through, and we lost $5,000 earnest money. So I was ready to quit after that, but luckily I didn't.
Yeah. I think for us in the beginning was, I think early on, it was, I want to say marketing. When we were both still working full-time jobs, it was figuring out the time and figuring out the marketing. We were scared of direct mail, had no idea how to do it. We were listening to everyone online and at conferences say, I'm spending, $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month on direct mail. And we're like, listen, that ain't how our bank account is set up.
No, I get that. You just didn't know what to do.
Exactly.
When you started, did you go to somebody's training?
Yes. So early on, in the beginning, we were going to some little local training. And I remember watching, or I might have heard it on the radio or something, that I think it was Christina and Tarek was supposed to be in town. And I was like, oh,
HGTV.
I was like, oh, they're going to be here. We got to go to their conference. And it was at like a little hotel.
At the Marriott.
Here. And Dedric was like, they are not going to be there. I was like, why would they say it on the radio if they're not going to be there?
She thought they were going to be there.
So he was like, babe, they're not going to be there. I was like, yes, they are. I'm going. He was like, well, you go and you let me know how it goes. I got there. I'm sitting there the whole time. All these people are coming up speaking. I'm texting him like, they're not here yet. And he's like, I kind of told you they weren't coming. So come lunchtime, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. And I remember telling him, I said, listen, we have to, from that point on, I said, we're going to have to start paying for coaches and mentors to fast track our learning curve. I said, I'm not trying to spend the next 2 to 3 years trying to learn something that we can hire someone to pay us in the next 2 months.
Can you just imagine what it cost you not to do that earlier?
Right.
That's very, very hard lesson for people to learn. Education is not cheap, and you're going to pay for it one way or the other. You paid for yours the same way I paid for mine.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was going everywhere, buying everything. I had a truckload of books and tapes, and some actually did some of it. But for the most part, trying to be all things to all people just didn't work. I had to figure out what you want to be when you grow up and get on the path and stay there and not be constantly looking for the next shiny object,
Right.
which everybody's looking for, but very few people actually find. I've never seen a business easier to enter with a big, large, high transaction value checks and such a small overhead as real estate. And I've done a ton of them. And
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
not hard to build wealth in real estate, both inside and outside your IRA, by the way. You doing anything in your IRA?
No, we're not doing much in our IRA. We do have some private investors that loan us retirement funds that we invest for them to help them grow it.
No, 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 no. How many kids you got?
We got 2.
How old are they? Under 18?
Yes, 10 and 6.
Okay. I want you to get them a CISA set up, CESA.
CISA. Okay.
Set them up with one CISA each. Got to be under 18. Now you take that CISA and you put $500 in it. And now you go use 100 of that or whatever for an earnest money deposit on a wholesale deal. Flip it. Here comes 20 grand into your kid's CISA. That money can be used for anything educational from birth to age 30.
Oh.
In other words, you're not writing checks for your kid's education. You're flipping a house. And of course, when they get old enough, they should be brought in and show them how they do it and let them go do as much as they can.
Yeah.
But that's all it takes. Just one CISA and 1 or 2 houses.
What? Because they're in private school now. We're paying for private school, so that would pay for their private school education.
Congratulations, though. They need the money. Yeah. You do it immediately. You guys are flipping houses. Just open up a CISA. I use directed.ira.com. But any of those self-directed companies will work, and learn a little bit about, I'm going to make a note right now to send you my IRA course. Debbie's got your contact information, right?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate that.
I want you to listen to it. And then, guys, wealth grows 10 times faster when it's not taxed than it does when it's taxed.
Right.
So you got to get on that boat. And then you got employees, I assume, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, you won't qualify for a solo 401k then, but your IRA that's a Roth IRA now. That's a Roth. Okay. All right. So what kind of advice would you give to people, knowing what you know now, if you had to start all over again? What kind of advice would you give them?
If we had to start all over again?
But you get to know what you know now.
Knowing what I know now, if
we would go out so much faster.
What I could tell myself or anyone else starting out, the sooner the better. So if you are 18 and you don't know what you're looking to do, start with real estate. I truly believe if we would have just started sooner, even if we'd have just started sooner when we met each other, we'd have still been 10 steps ahead of where we are now because we'd have got that knowledge sooner. And then I would tell them to invest in your education early out the gate, right?
You mean I can't get an education for free on the internet?
Right. No, not at all. Not
you're not going to get the good stuff.
I don't want to hear that. Huh?
Yeah. You're gonna have to cut a check to get the good stuff, but it's worth it.
Yes,
it's absolutely irrelevant what it costs compared to what it's worth.
I kid you not.
To get it, irrelevant. Now, of course, that means you actually have to do something with it. You can't go home and hope the checks are going to appear in your bank account.
Right.
Because education is worthless without implementation.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so is there anything else that you'd like to tell our folks? And by the way, do you have a way to contact you on here? You and Debbie discuss that?
Yeah. So what I would say, just to add to what Krystal said, is to learn creative financing, learn how to do terms deals early. If we would have known that in the first 3 years of our business, when we were just wholesale to buy and hold, we could have accumulated more properties. Now we have a pretty sizable portfolio, But if you know that at the outset, how to do those two offers that you talked about, right? The cash and the terms deals, you're going to capture a lot more deals that way, and you're going to build wealth faster.
Don't you feel sorry for all those wholesalers out there in the same mastermind we're in that
Right.
do not do terms deals and walk over the dollars to get to the dime and
Right.
think they're doing the right thing? When they're doing the right thing, they're making money, but they're not creating any real wealth except what cash
Wealth at all.
what cash the IRS don't take away from them.
Exactly. That right there.
Yeah. Don't you just hate writing checks to the IRS? It sucks, doesn't it? Huh? I'd rather give it to a charity.
Me too.
Exactly.
Me too.
All right, guys.
They can find us anywhere on anything Be Polite. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us. Just look up Be Polite Properties or Be Polite, and you'll find
Be
us.
polite. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. All right. Well, by the way, if you're watching this and you don't know who I am, you can find me on ronlegrand.com and any social media site there is on the planet. I think I'm even on TikTok. You guys on TikTok?
We heard it's getting banned, so we are not on TikTok.
No, we're not. We are too busy.
Well, I'm not sure I'd count on that being banned, but either way, they got me on it. All right, well, guys, it's been fun talking to you. It's good to actually know you. Maybe we'll meet when we get down to next meeting down in Tampa.
We appreciate you having us, Ron. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. See you soon.
Appreciate it.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.